If you are looking for an incredible adaptation, then you've found it. The manga, which came out in 1988, was brought into the modern age with a 2014 anime that featured updated designs for characters and technology like smartphones. The team behind the adaptation did an amazing job of modernizing it while still staying true to the source material. The opening song took me a bit to get used to, but it kept getting better and better as the episodes went on. What's the best way to start a very good anime? With an extremely passionate kiss, of course! Parasyte, the best romance anime I know. The main character Shinichi wakes up to some strange voices in his head and he's not quite sure what's going on. But first, eat breakfast. Not. But being the man of the house and take a spider, no. At least he pretty impressively fended off a hit from Satomi. And then he takes his little extra. Yeah, that makes up for it. But something's wrong with his right hand. After all, a parasite couldn't go through his ear, couldn't go through his nose either, so it had to go in his right arm. Next up, he saves a girl with a next level boss move. And at home, holy shit, his hand has a mouth! Actually, not that bad. Can't figure out how to kill the stranger, so Google it first. Nothing found. Can it already speak the language well enough to talk to him? It actually wanted to take over the whole body, but only made it into the right hand. And killing the host would also be a bad idea, because the parasite would have no host left. Now Shinichi also has a craving for two and no longer fears insects. Track down another of this species using brainwaves to find out that it's not a good boy, but one who wants to attack and can't even fly? Therefore, taking the heart out of it, Law style. At night, a woman is harassed by 3 jerks, but is saved by a parasite, which then slashes all 4 of them. Equality, right? Shinichi's stranger arm is now named Migi, with a name that surely doesn't seem so weird to him anymore. And thanks to Migi, Shinichi becomes a Michael Jordan in basketball, even gets asked out on a date by his crush Satomi, and gets challenged to fight Nagai. A hard left kick combo hits Shinichi as Migi fights back and wins the fight. In the bathroom, Migi wanted to release some pressure off Shinichi. In the name of science, of course. There have been reports of the hash sling and slasher around the world, but only Shinichi knows it's the parasites. Speaking of which, here comes another one who wants to take on Shinichi, even proposing a switch to Migi, who politely declines. The date went well too. They laughed and had a good time, rescued a cat from a stoning and intimidated the idiots, which massively impresses Satomi. She even wants to hold hands with Shinichi now. How wild! A parasite slaps a pervert off the train, who happens to be a new teacher at Shinichi's school, and she pulls Shinichi aside after the class for a talk. Yeah, not off to a great start. But the teacher wants to continue the conversation in more detail at a restaurant and shows up with some company. She actually just wants to more or less integrate into human society. She even had sex with A, her partner, but he's a bit different. The next day he shows up at the school to hunt down and kill Shinichi. On his search, he takes out few innocent people to surprise Shinichi through the window. And the fight starts right away. Migi defends against all of A's attacks, while Shinichi slowly approaches with a pole and pushes it through his heart. Critical! Weakened, he stumbles to his mistress, who doesn't save him, but instead blows him up. This leaves her single again, which doesn't bode well as a teacher in Japan, so she gets fired. She says goodbye to Shinichi, who also seems to be no longer fully human. But well, bad luck still follows her, because the mother comes to her home, who immediately realizes by her emotionless attitude and dead eyes that this is not Yujiro Hanma at all. Whether Yujiro or Ryoko, she's dead either way. Shinichi's mother also shows off her detective skills and starts to suspect him. Admittedly, she's always catching him at the worst possible moments. But he wasn't like this before. Partly because his mother once saved him from hot oil and burned her arm badly because of it. But now Shinichi is acting so strange. First he's completely against their vacation, then suddenly he's all for it. During an unassuming car ride, someone gets distracted by his mentally challenged girlfriend, causing an accident, and because she wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and he was, the parasite has to take over his body because the old one is no longer useful. Yeah, learning through pain and all. And while we are on the subject of pain, Shinichi wants to prove that he's still human, showing little moral courage here and there, getting beaten up, intimidating Kana and getting punched again, until he gets some support himself. Kana comes to apologize, which only strengthens her suspicions. So quickly back inside. Shinichi's parents should be inside as well, because they unfortunately meet the parasite that has taken over the boyfriend, but can't control him, because women and men are too different. So he needs a female body again, and as luck would have it, the mother arrives just in time. Although Shinichi's father warns him, but when the parasite comes in the form of his mother, he denies everything completely, which causes him a nice heart acupuncture. She leaves while Migi does everything it can to save Shinichi. Then some supplies and the body is as good as new. No, actually even better than new. So many upgrades! He no longer needs his glasses, and best of all, he now has his scar, perfect for a Luffy cosplay. But also a heavy downgrade, as Migi now goes into deep sleep for 4 hours every now and then, and doesn't notice absolutely anything during that time. He finds out through a phone call which hospital his father is at, makes a new acquaintance along the way, brings his dad some supplies and settles into a hotel where the owner's daughter, Maki, wants to make small talk when Migi senses a parasite. So, let's go! A 3-meter wall in the way. Shinichi just jumps over it and then attacks. Oh, false alarm. Yes, it's a parasite, but just like Shinichi, it's a failure and couldn't plant itself in the brain, but in the chin. Uda wanted to make a kipper off a cliff when his wife broke up with him, but couldn't. Parasite plus neck plus fall off cliff equals host will die equals parasite dead. So the parasite prefers to nest by the mouth and provide air and thus survival. And yeah, that's his story. Due to the fact that Shinichi had to be rescued by Migi, Migi is now only 70% itself, 30% has nested all over Shinichi's body, which gives him something to think about. But hey, Terminator Mother is already around to provide some distraction. First finishing Uda off on a cliff, then fighting Shinichi while Migi sleeps, and could only leave him a sword as a replacement. The scar made him hesitate a bit, but what are friends for, if not to cut off the head of the parasitic mother? Mission accomplished, and they head back home with Shinichi's father. Not even properly arrived home, there's immediately trouble with Kana's lover, who's a bit jealous and wants to beat up Shinichi, but doesn't really succeed. Completely unfazed, Shinichi dodges everything in Ultra Instinct and takes off one of his shoes in absolute disrespect mode, giving him the "don't fuck with me" look, which he understood. But not only has Shinichi gone through the Eisen Source transformation on the outside, becoming an absolute beast physically, but as we know from Saitama, with great strength comes little emotion, which he shows in the most unexpected moment. He picks up a badly injured dog and takes it to the playground so it can die there in peace. This earns him some points with Satomi. But then, when the little cuddly dog is dead, he throws it into the garbage. Bro, that was so unexpected! With that, Satomi also understands that he has changed at least a little. And why did he even do that in the first place, if the body still has good nutritional values for a tree? Tasty! And then at school there's another visitor. This time it's Shimada, which isn't greeted warmly by the others. He was sent by Ryoko, or more recently Raiko, to become friends with Shinichi. After all, he's a human vegan. At least that's what he pretends to be when Shinichi is around. When he's not around, he seduces a girl and eats her like Naruto his noodles. So being in love with him is rather a disadvantage. Even Shinichi's depressed and quite alcohol-dependent father realizes that Shinichi has somehow become emotionless. Shimada is being stalked by Yuko, while Kana is being stalked by Shimada. Stalkception! The father finally tells the truth even to Shinichi, who really has the best shirts. One time it's a stop sign, another time it's only left and right turns. That's a style I wish I had. Yuko's suspicions are confirmed when a baseball makes a hard dent in Shimada's head, which leaves him absolutely unimpressed and simply fixes it again. Shinichi wants to prevent a massacre and protect the group who wanted to fight Shimada. The leader quickly realizes he has no chance against Shinichi, so he retreats and Shinichi hears from Satomi again that he is not himself anymore. Yuko continues to spy and finds out that Shimada is truly a monster. She also uses the best hiding spots to avoid being recognized. What do you do when you find out someone is a man-eating monster? A. Go to the police. B. Report him. C. Shoot him. Or D. Confront him and give him an ultimatum that if he leaves, she does nothing, and if he doesn't leave, she will hit him with a bottle. Of course, she chooses D. What Shinichi notices and goes to prevent deaths again. However, she doesn't need any help. Hitting him with a bottle is effective thanks to the contents. And the fall from the second floor is also solved because a tree can cushion the fall well. Thus, the next rampage in the school starts. Again there are deaths, again students are evacuated. At the sight of dead people, Shinichi freaks out, calms down again, and after a short mix-up, he finds his girlfriend again. Bringing her to safety, he tries to eliminate Shimada unnoticed. The police can weaken him, but can't kill him. Shinichi only manages that with a precision throw from more than 300 meters straight through Shimada's heart. Even Sogeking couldn't have done it more precisely. Because the government got into the hands of a parasite, they found out that parasitic people can be recognized by the fact that torn or tears of them die immediately. So that becomes the new greeting. If this woman hadn't done that, well, so quick you become a midnight snack. A monster wants to test his strength, and what could be more convenient than a meeting of the Yakuza, where he knocks nicely and easily kills one after the other inside and then just walks out as if nothing has happened and immediately grabs a new body. Shinichi and Satomi have a date, which went very well for both of them. But not for Kana. She wants to meet Shinichi again the next day, where Migi locates 8 parasites during a speech by a mayoral candidate, while Kana could only sense 4 to 5. She's now absolutely obsessed with Shinichi, who tells her everything about the parasites, while Migi is asleep and she shouldn't get close to this feeling, because they are the fucking parasites. She can even emit this aura herself, so that other parasites notice her, which is kind of not that beneficial. But she still thinks they are meant for each other, that she can tell Shinichi from the others, so that she can show us that she can't. Oops, caught a monster eating. That's never really ended well before. Shinichi comes to save her. Just a little too late, unfortunately, which completely pisses Shinichi off and makes short work of the parasite, as if he were Kakashi and the parasite didn't. Kana's last words as she died. After the funeral, he blames himself, and Kana's lover does that too. After a few fists, Shinichi wasn't so sure if he was really still human. After all, he couldn't even shed a tear. But after the head against tree game and his red blood, he is still convinced of it. While Shinichi still needs some time to get over the death, the Council of Parasites already knows that Shinichi must have killed their partner. They also already have human offspring who listens to them really well. Tamura sends Shinichi some people to finish them off easily, so that the private detective has something to marvel at. But Tamura wants to know more though, so he hangs in extra hard and apparently spends the whole night chilling behind the lantern, so that if Shinichi ever goes out, he can stick to his verses. Which is exactly what happens. And to always stand in the light is also the best camouflage. All Shinichi wants to do is talk to Migi about Kana's death in peace, because the detective saw that there was something strange with his right hand and escaped, even though Migi wanted to kill him, but Shinichi didn't. Shinichi gets a little paranoid, only to come up with a hilarious moment. Continuing to be paranoid, the evening is spent talking to Satomi, where she actually just gets more suspicious. He wants to tell her everything, but Migi won't. So he has no choice but to remain silent. With Satomi, they haven't made up their minds yet, but with the detective, they have. Migi doesn't want to kill him anymore, but to bring him to a conversation with the help of Uda. Tell him everything and say that his client is also a parasite. Just a complete one. The damn creative name change from Tamiya Ryoko to Tamura Raiko didn't help either. But she just learned the ability to laugh. and wants to meet Shinichi at her university. She needs to practice holding the baby properly. Ah, there you go. She wants to try to coexist with humans, which Shinichi doesn't want at all because he can never forgive what happened to his mother. Using the baby as a shield, they part ways. A palm reader gives him a hint that he has to talk to the person who caused the hole in his heart. Well, it's going to be difficult because they still don't quite get the hang of coexistence, though, because the detective now attaches one of his workers to the parasite and, surprise, sees a murder and dies himself. Time for Shinichi to step in and lend a hand. They head to the last known location, where there's another parasite with food. Shinichi tries to stop the worst from happening, but unfortunately he was a bit too late. At least there's one less parasite now. And the detective recorded the fight, but he bows out and Migi destroys the evidence. The Parasyte organization sees Shinichi as a threat and wants to get rid of him. So they send out one with 3 parasites in one body. But first they got to make a run for it for 4 hours because Migi needs a power nap. The detective tried to protect his family, but ended up losing them instead. Shinichi is dealing with the 3 series now. He's too strong in a straight up fight. The legs are also more robust than expected. Then off into the woods, see through his movement pattern and BAM! 1 head less. Or not. The actual parasite leader of the body takes over again, who got all 5 parasites in the body perfectly under control. And let me tell ya, this Transformer is not to be messed with. He's way too robust, way too fast, too strong, too Tarzan, too Gazelle. Even when a truck tackled him, he only had to snack on 2 others to make up for the blood loss. Shinichi is staying away from home now, also warns his father, while the detective writes down everything he can for the police and tries to get even with Tamura, who is seen as a danger by 3 of her own parasite friends and needs to talk to her. And even if she's alone, she's pretty confident that she will make it out on top. After all, she's also much more intelligent than the other 3, so she splits up and occupies one of them to infect the other 2 and kill them from the inside. She takes out the last one from behind, merges again, and the day is saved. Okay, her life is saved, but not her baby's. At home, the detective has kidnapped her baby. Shinichi is also supposed to head to the park, where even Satomi went, cause like Kana, she can suddenly sense Shinichi too. The detective's pretending to use the baby as a Genkidama, but he gets stopped and falls down, where the police finds him and search the park for Tamura and her partner. Tamura gives some real good advice to stay away from Goto, the 5 parasite dude. And already the cops have them surrounded. The chief takes a big risk of not being promoted for the next few decades, of which he doesn't have that many left, and shoots Tamura with real skill and precision. Alright, the suspicion is confirmed, so everyone starts shooting at her, but she doesn't flee, she's more concerned about protecting her baby. In this hail of bullets, she slowly walks to Shinichi to give him the baby, cause somehow she became human and felt emotions. She could laugh, just like Shinichi can cry again. Baby's passed on, Shinichi goes along with the police, where he also meets his father and is confronted by a serial killer who first gets to see a few others just having a good time. So, in the truest sense, and with Shinichi, he gets more serious than Saitama when he talks about his training. Even though he has killed many people, he only got arrested cause he was in the wrong place at the wrong time and he said something he probably regretted right away. And even though he gets a little more serious with Shinichi, he still ain't really interested in him. Back in the hood, Shinichi impresses everyone in sports by almost breaking the women's world record of 10.49 with 10.5 seconds. For Usain Bolt with 9.58, and with that 10 km per hour faster, still ain't enough. Even though Shinichi could, of course. Can't hide his dream of becoming the king of the pirates while he's changing, and just when things with his girlfriend were getting back on track, the Parasyte division of the police comes in and wants Shinichi's help. Off to the major to carry out a complete action in which they want to identify and execute parasites with an X-ray machine. Shinichi's tip to weaken the parasites with flamethrowers isn't necessary for now. Shotguns at close range are just as effective. 1 less. They figure it out, of course, and try to bypass the scanner. But hey, what's the point of having a serial killer with you if not that he makes false accusations and get people killed, but also parasites? Panic breaks out, people get injured, some folks die, both humans and parasites, people are used as shields, It's all there. The task force gets ready to clean the rest of the building. One parasite after another gets wiped out, but even the task force takes some losses. Especially when they gotta face Goto, where even the serial killer realizes it's better not to mess with him. Yeah, his instincts are way better than expected. After all, shotgun pellets ain't doing nothing good. They just get shot back again, and afterwards he acts like it's a normal Monday morning. Meeting up with a major in the plenary hall and getting to listen to a speech. There are too many humans. People are the real parasites. So he goes ahead and sets a good example by letting himself get shot. Who thinks so must be a parasite. Only he wasn't one at all. Quite different from Goto, who now comes to play along. He cleans up one team after another while the serial killer gets away. Inside it's maybe a bit too close for weapons, so it's better to escape to the roof in threes, where only one can really get up there. Yeah, well, and Goto, who also takes out the boss, says hello to Shinichi and takes off again. Goto is just way too strong. So strong that Shinichi gets nightmares, delusions and thinks about just running away. Nothing could convince him anymore. Yeah, okay, after a little sexy time with Satomi, he's back in full force. Goto gets comfortable and drives around with the car, who is surprised by Shinichi with the car. A direct one-on-one would be completely pointless, so some tactics gotta be used. Migi breaks away from the body, splits into two to confuse Goto, and when Shinichi caught him with a flaming spear, they almost managed to chop off his head. Almost ain't enough though, so Migi sacrifices himself so Shinichi could escape without an arm. He, of course, misses Migi, stays with a nice older lady for a few days, and in a dream meets a mini Migi who walks just like me. Migi can manifest an eye again. Only Goto is still sneaking around in the forest, causing someone to die again. Shinichi can't stand by any longer, takes the blame and goes hunting with a rusty cleaver, sharpening the senses, activating the Sharingan. Gotcha! Is Migi inside him? Can't think about that too much, better attack. What could be seen and was repelled. Goto has become an absolute monster. Extremely fast, with an armor that Shinichi's blow can't penetrate, and extremely strong, with which he pretty much fucks up Shinichi with one blow. Landing on the garbage dump, he regains his courage, shoves a rusty pipe into his gap and runs away again. But he doesn't get far, he's at the end of his strength. Goto finds him, but he also has a problem, cause the other parasites also wants to be the boss and rebel a bit. On top of that, when Migi touches Shinichi's right arm, he's back at full strength, destroying vital organs along the way and fighting. The poison Shinichi blasted into him with the pipe didn't do that well, the opponent is struggling more with himself, which Migi takes advantage of and finishes the fight. Picking up the cleaver and getting the SOS message from Migi that Goto is still alive. Back again, Migi don't want to kill him. After all, he used to be one with him. And because he got a 50% chance of surviving, Shinichi leaves it up to fate whether he makes it or not. Nah, and 1, and 2, and 3! The dead monster is found, the cleaver is brought back to the old lady, and so it's back home on foot. Since the incident in Japan, the parasites all over the world have come to their senses and have integrated themselves into society. Shinichi dreams again about Migi, who has developed a little more again, meets many people there who have died along the way and whom he will never see again. Just like Migi, who for some reason wants to go to sleep forever to concentrate fully on the inside. So it's time to say goodbye. Which of course makes Shinichi feel pretty bad. Life goes on and... oh, we almost forgot about the serial killer. He distracts Shinichi, kidnaps Satomi, goes with her to the roof to kill 2 people and talk a bit with Shinichi. He knew all along that Shinichi isn't a real human being, but also not a real monster. Something in between. He throws Satomi down so that Shinichi gives him a fist of horror, but comes too late to save Satomi. If it weren't for our friend Migi. Or was it him? It was never shown exactly, but there's a happy ending anyway. Let's come to a conclusion. We have 24 good episodes, no average episodes and no bad episodes. Very surprising result, I know. One anime that was completely finished within 24 episodes without having left out anything from the manga in particular. Very good adaptation, which everyone needs to give a try.